Yo, what up, man? Welcome to Battle Rap Arena. What's good, man? We on, right?
Yeah, we on.
Yeah, what's good, man? Welcome to Battle Rap Arena. Me and my boy No Mercy today. Freaking holding it down. Looking forward to this interview. It's funny because I forgot all about this interview that I did with him. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, and looking forward to reading the book too, because I know just how much years in preparation it must have been, because he hasn't even got. By the way, the guest tonight is going to be Ryan O'Leary, battle rap book, and he wrote a battle rap book, and I know he did years of preparation for it, because I did this interview 2 or 3 years ago. And
but how interesting is that? Like when you talk about adding to battle rap and the different facets we have of it, like, just expanding outside of the battles, like not just having, the rap battles, but having things like magazines and people writing books and people wanting to do movies. Like, I feel like that overall expands like what brings attention to battle rap.
Yeah, it's dope. I remember when I first met Star from Star and Buck, and I was going to say this in the introduction too, on the old Battle Rap Arena page. I mean, you could go back and look at it. It's one of the first few episodes we had. It was my first time interviewing Star, and Star from Star and Buck Wild fame and stuff, Hot 97. Now he does Star in the Morning, Power 105. He was all over the place, Everyday Struggle. And when we had him on, now this has to be 2012, 2013, so it was early. And he was talking about battle rap going to the next step. And he said, I want to see Charlie Clip's bobblehead doll. I want to see a battle rap book. I want to see. And it's kind of funny that he kind of predicted that, I think we might very well be headed there. I mean, I think we might see his ass the bobblehead Bob before we see Charlie Clips, but,
I mean, I did see somebody at one point reaching out to somebody to try to make some battle rap toys. I don't know what company or what publisher or whatever it was, but somebody had definitely I don't know if it was maybe like on Instagram, and I seen somebody leave a comment, and I went to their page. I seen that they make toys. So, I don't know. It's definitely something that can be in the works.
Yeah, man. I love it, though. It's a good look for the culture,
I got the guest of the hour on right now. Should we bring him on?
Yeah. Okay, let me introduce him. I first met him a few years ago. Honored to be part of this journey he did. One of the most innovative ideas I think that happened in battle rap, and Ryan O'Leary, and just operation, all the work he got into it, or how professional he went about it. Especially my conversation with him. This is one of the best interviews I think that we can ever have, because it's such a dope idea and it's an innovation to the sport. So, Ryan O'Leary.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. Red Sox are winning, so I'm good.
Oh, that's what's up.
So, what's going on tonight, guys?
It's all good, man. It's funny because when No Mercy told me, to do he wrote the battle rap book. So I'm like, what's his name? He said Ryan, and I'm like, I think he interviewed me.
Mm-hmm. It's been a long
that was a long time ago. Yeah, that was like 3 years ago, right?
I could see how that might slip your memory, because I mean, I was
because
I was at my old address back then. So I mean, this was at least 3 years ago.
Yeah. And I was off the scene for a while, so it's funny, I just came back on the scene, and you dropped the book. But I remembered our interview instantly, once the name hit me. I was like, Ryan O'Leary. I was like, I was part of this, So How many years did it take for you to get this accomplished?
I mean, this started in December of 2013. I was just kind of watching a bunch of battles one night. Like I'd get done with work at like midnight at my old job, and would kind of come home and just kind of lounge for a little bit, and I would just sort of jump on YouTube and kind of go down the rabbit hole, and I was kind of watching one night and was just like, man, I wonder if anyone's ever done a book on this. And kind of looking around, I was like, man, this hasn't happened. I was like, well, shit, why don't I do it? Because I'm a sports writer by my day job anyway. So I'd kind of always wanted to do a book, and like the other couple of things I had started down paths or whatever at certain points, and it fell through. I was like, man, I'm going to try to do this. So I just sort of hit up some people that I knew were kind of influential within the culture and whatnot, and tried to get a little bit of headway going, and got a couple responses from people, and just sort of little by little it started picking up steam. And as I kind of connected with some people, it was like, okay, they'll put me on to some other dudes and connect me, because I wasn't like a known person within the battle scene, I guess you could say. I've kind of followed it from a distance from a while, but it wasn't like I had relationships with all these people, so it was kind of it took a while to get the ball rolling, because I hit people up and it's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
But I think the more people I had talked to, and I think people started to realize, like, hey, this might be legitimate, that I kind of started making more headway, and it was just one of those things like kind of starting a snowball where it's kind of hard to get it started, but once you do, it sort of becomes easier as you go. And it was just a long process of trying to track people down and let them know, like, hey, this is the thing I'm doing. I'd like you to be a part of it. And, I mean, I didn't get everybody I wanted, but I feel like I got enough across a wide enough spectrum of generations and styles that I feel like everything is fairly well represented,
Facts.
It's been a while.
So you are a writer by profession, you said. You're a sports writer by day, you said?
Yeah, that's what I do. Like, that's what I've been doing for the last long time. I'm an old-ass dude. But, yeah, I've been going at this for a good 20-plus years. So, but hip-hop has always kind of been my side thing. Like, I used to dabble in, like, I did, like, text battles online in, like, the late 90s and stuff. And that
right, I remember those days.
Recorded
so
some little...
You remember the AO chat room battle? So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I was messing with... There's actually, like, dudes that... Like, one dude I interviewed, Cashmere the Professional, who was, like, old school. He battled at Scribble a couple times and whatnot, and he was, like, a dude in New York and Atlanta's hip-hop scenes. And I had actually won a text battle tournament on Hip Hop Infinity back in '98, and beat him to win the tournament. And, like, my prize was a copy of the Slim Shady EP, which tells you how old this was.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, yeah, he was, like, aside from him, like, basically I didn't know anybody within the battle scene or whatever. There was a couple other dudes I had maybe hit up for music. When I was covering Notre Dame football back in, like, 2008, 2009, I had a weekly podcast or whatever, and I wanted to get some music to run during breaks, so I was hitting up battlers, and so I got some joints from some of those guys, but it wasn't like anybody that was going to actually remember who the fuck I was, you know what I mean? So I was kind of starting from scratch with this thing.
So how many people did you interview overall, a total?
I'd have to go back and check the exact count, but it was somewhere between 140 and 150. I think I came up short of 150, but it was somewhere pretty close to that.
That's a lot of names right there.
I tried to be thorough,
Which is the one that is there one that stood out to you in particular that you were like, holy shit, like I never knew this, and that, one person that really connected with you?
I mean, if we're talking about, like, who I connected with the most and, like, maybe who the best interviews were, I mean, obviously you're going to get the most material from guys that have been, I guess, the most influential in it. I had some long conversations with guys like Lush and Direct and Poison Pen, and I had a good conversation with Smack. So, yeah, I mean, just going down the line, obviously the guys that have been the most involved in it, you would assume kind of have the most to offer. But then there was guys that I was only expecting to be on the phone with for a little while and wound up kind of building with for a long time. Guys like Swan, who it's like, okay, he did this, this, and this, but it's like, oh, man, I didn't know he did this too. And you kind of get going in conversations with guys, and it's like, I don't know, it's like you go in knowing what you know and having an idea of, okay, there's some stuff I don't know here, maybe this guy can help me out with this, but then there's other stuff that you didn't know that you don't know. Like, oh, holy shit, there's this one thing that no one's even heard about, you know, just random stuff that doesn't exist on tape or anything, and it's just kind of, you wind up with these conversations where shit you didn't even realize happened, and you wind up with these long, drawn-out things about it because it's interesting as shit, but it's like, man, I didn't know anything about this, and apparently neither did a lot of other people. So there's kind of some interesting, I think there's, the cool thing about this for me was, I mean, I felt like I knew a pretty decent amount about, especially in certain areas of the battle history, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm a little weaker in this, but I know a lot about this, but even in the areas where I thought I knew a lot, from talking to all these people, it's like, man, there's a sheer tonnage of shit I didn't know. And people that I've had look at this, like Direct, who wrote the foreword for the book, like he read through it before it came out, and he was like, man, I didn't know half this shit happened. And, I mean, this is Direct. This is somebody who's been like, this has been his life for a while. So it's like, I'm like, man, if he doesn't know this shit, that was the cool thing to me, is I feel like there's going to be something in here, like no matter how big of a fan you are and how well-versed you think you are, there's going to be something in this book that's going to make you say, holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I learned a ton. So I'm hopeful that, even guys that know a lot more about this shit than I do, I feel like there's going to be something new in there for everybody, and especially for people that are newer to it, that have only started maybe watching battles 2-3 years ago, and their idea of old school is like 2012, that hopefully it'll kind of serve as a foundation that they'll go back and be, oh man, there was shit before that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that everybody can get something out of this, you know. So
how did, now publishing wise, who published it? How hard was it to get published, to find a publisher, or was it fairly easy? Can you take us through that whole routine?
That was kind of the most annoying / I guess difficult part of the journey, really, because, I mean, the bulk of the book has been done for about 1.5 years. And so I kind of, once I felt like, okay, I've got a pretty good handle on this, the rest of it's just going to be kind of tweaking little things here and there. And I kind of just went shopping and wanted to get, you want to take a shot at getting the biggest audience you can. So it's like, okay, I want to go for the big name publishers or whatever, but to do that, you got to have an agent. So I kind of started shopping to agents, and I heard back from this one dude, and he's like, yeah, I want to represent this book. And he was, I guess, actually drawn to it because he was a fan of No Can Do. Like, he was from Cali, and he's like, I remember going to shows and a lot of smoking weed with No Can Do and da-da-da. So he's like, yeah, I want to jump on this book. And so I kind of signed on with this agency, and it's like, okay, we're not really getting anywhere. And after a while, I was kind of like, all right, well, what's up with this? And they're kind of like, all right, well, these publishers are feeling like, the oral history genre, because that's kind of how I format the book, an oral history, where everything, as you go through it, is kind of told by the guys who did it. Because if I tried to tell the history of battle rap myself, it's like, who the fuck is this guy? But if it's being told by Smack and Disaster and Hollow and Immaculate and guys like this, people are more likely to, okay, it's coming straight from them. This is the real shit. I felt like it had to be done that way for it to really hit. But these guys are saying, the major people think all this whole genre is played out, like they didn't want to do it that way. I'm like, well, one, I'm not going to redo it, and two, I feel like I just felt really strongly that it needed to be done this way, and I wanted to make sure that I maintained that creative control. And so, I kind of parted ways with the agency and kind of went out pitching this thing on my own, and I wound up linking up with my current publisher now, which is IBJ Book Publishing, which is based out of Indianapolis here, right near where I live. But it was kind of like I was able to get the production quality and stuff that I wanted, but also maintain the creative control over, okay, this is the way I want it done. It's like, obviously everybody wants the ego trip of, I want to do it on, Penguin or Random House or whatever the big national publishers are that are doing, like, Kardashian books and shit. But I was like, it's more important to me to do this right, to do it the way, one, I want to, and do it the way, two, that is going to be the best look for the battle rap culture in general, because that's really what I'm doing it for. I've been a fan of this shit for 20 plus years, and I just wanted to kind of give something back, because my battles themselves weren't really the big give back. So I just wanted to be able to do it right. So I kind of went with the more, I guess you could say, smaller time shop to sort of do it the way I wanted to do it and the way that I thought it should be done, and I was pretty pleased with the way it came out.
That's what's up, man. Can I ask, did I make the final cut?
Was that? Yeah, you're in there. I know
Okay, cool.
I know you're quoted in there somewhere. I know, obviously with that many names, it's kind of, there's some people that were...
150 is a lot.
Some people that were quoted more than others, and some maybe only once or twice, but yeah, I know you're definitely in there somewhere.
Okay, what made you reach out to me? Did you used to listen to Battle Rap Arena back in the day, or?
Honestly, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm not gonna lie, but because with kids, I don't really have time to indulge like every single battle that comes out. But I'd obviously heard of you, and I kind of wanted to originally. I think I wanted to kind of include some stuff on just how things were covered and whatnot, and so I'd reached out to you and guys like Battle Rap Chris and guys like that I guess had been the media,
the
forefront
I got
of the battle rap media, because you guys were one of the first ones out there doing it. With the aside from including like BattleRap.com, I guess, with Chris, and then the Dirtbag Dan Show was obviously a thing. So they were at a time when there were still very few outlets out there, when it wasn't like 5,000 dudes with a camera and a YouTube channel. You guys were kind of out there doing your thing. So I was like, all right, I want to reach out to these guys, because I think when you're talking to just the battlers, everyone's going to have their own individual agenda of, okay, I want to make myself look good and da-da-da, and I think you have to kind of balance that by having some, I guess, quote-unquote neutral sources. So I wanted to get some stuff from guys like you or Chris, or even some guys that are, I guess, have been actively involved in the scene, but not necessarily battlers. Guys that have been
like
kind of following along the the Eric Foremans of the world that have been involved, but they're not necessarily known as battlers, but they're definitely involved in the scene. So I kind of wanted to get as many different perspectives as possible, and obviously you guys were some of the first people that came to mind as far as that goes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I can't wait to read the book too. It's funny because with the book coming out too, and there's a movie coming out, Bodied, in November. Well, I know it's been at festivals and stuff, and some people have seen it, but I believe it's going to be on YouTube Red November 2nd, I believe. Which is going to be Disaster, and the main star, Callum, I forgot his last name.
Callum Worthy,
Callum Worthy.
And what's funny is that I actually, as I was finishing things up and it's kind of going along, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of following this timeline, but I need an end point, because otherwise this book is never going to get done, because it's obviously there's always going to be something.
Right.
And I was like, I've got to cut it off somewhere. And once I heard about the movie, I was like, all right, this is it, because this is kind of, all right, battle rap goes Hollywood, sort of coming full circle at, 8 Mile happened, but this is like the real battle rap movie with like actual battle rappers in it. Like, this is my perfect endpoint. So I had circled back to guys that I had already talked to that was like, I knew they were involved in the movie. Is like, I'm going back to, okay, I talked to Kid Twist, obviously, because he wrote the damn thing. I talked to guys like...
I forgot about that. Kid Twist wrote the movie, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what gives it, I think... I hope... I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds like it's a pretty authentic look at the culture and whatnot. So, I mean, I talked to Disaster again after that. Or, no, I didn't talk to Diz after that again, I don't think. But like Hollow and Madness and guys that are in the movie and involved with it, to kind of get a little bit on that without giving any spoilers about the actual plot, because I didn't know when it was coming out, and they weren't going to give me any because it wasn't out yet anyway. But just kind of talking about what went into making it and kind of what that does for battle rap as a whole. So, yeah, I mean, Bodied kind of is the end point of the book. And,
that's dope. Yeah.
And I kind of talked to Twist, and I was like, I'm hoping to have this done around the same time. And he's like, yeah, I'm thinking the timing might work out where the book and the movie are kind of dropping around the same time. And, I mean, we got pretty damn close. It's hard to time that stuff because, obviously, with both movie making and with publishing, there's going to be unforeseen delays. And I think both things are kind of dropping later than we want them to. But the timing's working out pretty good.
I assume something like that, too, in a project like that where you hope to finish the product at the same time. There could have been ideas of like selling the book at the festivals that it premiered at and stuff like that, of that nature, right?
I mean, I'd love to do that at some point. I mean, obviously, there's travel involved between the amount of work time off I have versus plus cost of traveling. Is it going to be worth it to do that stuff? I mean, if I had an unlimited budget, I'd be out promoting the shit out of this worldwide, but
right.
I got to kind of work within realistic whatever. So I don't know. I mean, if there's something that comes to somewhere close enough that I can make it work. I mean, I don't know if I can go out to like Hollywood and be there on opening night, trying to post up outside the theater on the red carpet and like, buy this book.
Yeah.
We'll try to work in something, hopefully. I haven't talked to Twist in a little while, but, just even if there's nothing like direct promotion-wise, just the cross, I guess, synergy of, the timing of it really is kind of a cool thing, which is, I think that obviously Bodied, I think, will bring a little bit more attention to the battle rap culture in general, and then if people are going to look for more background on that, if they're not necessarily familiar, it's like, oh shit, here's this resource that we can kind of go find out some more stuff. In that sense, I'm hoping that it'll work out well, that, I can kind of, I told Twist straight up, I was like, man, I want to piggyback off you like a motherfucker, because, they're obviously going to have a much bigger audience. I mean, let's be honest, movies have a much bigger audience than books do. It's like, if I can kind of generate some buzz off of what they're doing,
right,
that'd be perfect. So
now, with something like a book too. Now, do you have? Is it hard copy or soft copy, by the way? Or is it both?
Soft cover right now. I mean, if I
soft cover, yeah.
Yeah, if there's enough demand to do hard at some point, I might do like a special run or something. But yeah, I mean, it's just soft cover for now.
Something like this, you have to be realistic on the number of books you publish, right? Because you don't want to get left over with a lot of books in the stock. Is that correct, or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the more I sell, the better I do, and given how much kind of went into this out of me up front, it's like, I'm going to have to sell a certain amount even to just break even. So, I've kind of got numbers in my mind that I want to hit, but it's not a thing where you don't go into writing a book thinking like, oh man, I want to make millions off of this, because
right.
Let's be realistic. Most people in America don't freaking read anymore. one.
Mm-hmm.
And two, battle rap is kind of just sort of a niche thing in itself that there's not, I think, there's not a lot of hardcore fans out there that, you know, you're kind of targeting a very small audience. So you just kind of hope that the response from that audience is good, and
right.
it kind of becomes what it becomes. But I mean, if I was going into things looking to make money, one, I wouldn't have become a sports writer in the first place, and two, you know, books ain't the way to do it. I mean, you got to get your ass on TV or whatever to make some money. So it's it's more just for the satisfaction of this is something I always just wanted to be able to go and just pick up a book and see my name on it. You know what I mean? I've had thousands upon thousands of newspaper/magazine articles with my name on it, but a book is just different. I feel like it's just the culmination of a story I can bang out in an hour or two. This is a project.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think, you know, because you're the only one to do something of this nature too, you're going to go down as an innovator. And, you know, I think the battle rap fans are actually looking forward to this because it's something new. Like, yeah, I mean, people don't read books that much, but it's something new to us, you know.
Let's change that. Let's make people read.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, but I mean,
well,
yeah.
people don't buy books as much. Yeah, you know, but yeah.
But I mean, even if people don't want to buy it, you know, go to your library and have them get it. You know, if you don't want to pay the money yourself, like have the library get it, and that way it's available to everybody in your community or whatever. But like somebody's getting it out there, and I mean, I wouldn't even be mad at that because I get a lot of books that come out that I want to read that I don't necessarily want to fork out $25 for. Like I'm gonna go check this out at the library. So I mean, if your library gets it, that's fine. There's still somebody getting the damn book. By any means, man, I just want this thing out there to get read and hopefully appreciated. But, you know, I just want to kind of get this, I want to give people a chance to kind of soak up the whole history of this thing, like where it came from. I mean, it didn't start in 2010 or 2012 or whatever. There's a lot that kind of went into this, and I think this was my way of contributing because, I mean, my contribution is not going to be to get up on stage against Arsenal and, you know, bark 3 rounds at them. I'm not built like that. So this was kind of my way of making a contribution to the culture.
So how many chapters, how many pages can we look forward to?
It's 288 pages overall. I mean, obviously it's including like the intros and things like that. But, I mean, pretty much all of that is white meat, you know what I mean, in one way, shape, or form. But it's, we got, I think, 12 chapters overall. I guess if you count the intro, I think it's 12.
So
and,
12,
you know,
12
each
chapters,
each one is covering, like, a different era, I guess you could say, of battling. I've got kind of the New York, you know, the old New York freestyle / DVD era, and then you got the Fresh Coast, you got Scribble Jam, you got a chapter on kind of the whole, I guess, the post 8 Mile rush to kind of, when people were trying to maybe push it into the mainstream, you had the MTV battles and Fight Club and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got a chapter on Jump Off, and I think I actually dedicated a whole chapter to the 2007 WRCs, which to me I think is still the most important single event in the history of battling because it sort of set the table for everything that has happened since. Because I think that was the event to me that turned everything into like a worldwide. You know, Grind 10 came out of that, King of the Dot came out of that, Don't Flop came out of that. And so that was what kind of really set things in motion in terms of making this a global thing. And then, you know, obviously we touch on, you know, URL, King of the Dot, Don't Flop. And then there's another chapter that goes into just, you know, the money side of things in terms of, I guess, things that maybe, like mainstream attempts that didn't turn out so well, like Total Slaughter and Ether. things like that, and just sort of the business side of things and the presentation side of things. There's a lot of love for dudes like Avocado, who sort of took this from, the handheld video cameras, like, oh, you got your boy in the stands with a camcorder filming your battles, to like Hollywood quality with trailers and stuff. So there's a lot of that, and then sort of touching on, okay, what's the future for this thing? Where can it go? Can it become more than a niche thing? And sort of what are the options for it going forward? So I think I tried to touch on as many different areas as possible throughout it. But yeah, it's kind of broken up like that. Like each chapter is its own different exploration, I guess, into a certain point in time.
You mentioned Fight Club. Did you get a chance to, now, shout out to Jay Legend, my boy Jay Legend. We're international P, man. I'm trying to interview him. I would love to get an interview with him. Did you get a chance to grab him?
I wish, man. He's on a long list of people. What's funny is that for everybody I got, there's probably another person who I didn't get. I tried everybody. Anybody that's remotely, there's people, obviously, like a Lux I didn't get. Guys like that.
Who's the top five? Well, a list of people that you would have loved to have that you just didn't get a chance to get.
Guys I didn't get, I think Lux has to be one, just because.
And what's funny? Yeah. You probably would have been able to get Lux before Summer Madness 2. After Summer Madness 2 was when he became funny with the interviews.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Not everybody's going to be.
No, it's understandable, yeah.
Like that. I took a stab at Eminem because I think you have to.
Wow.
And I think I got in touch with his manager, and they were at least willing to hear my pitch, but then he politely declined through him. But, it's kind of like I reached out to those certain dudes like, Clips or guys like that.
You got to talk to Paul Rosenberg or just management in general?
No, it was a different dude that kind of, I guess, handles maybe non-Paul stuff. I forget dude's name, Dennis something, I think. But he was like,
because I was going to say Paul could have been a great interview itself,
No, I would have loved to have gotten Paul too. Especially for like the Total Slaughter stuff. I would have loved to have talked to like, Royce or Joe or any of those guys about that whole thing. Because you get the battler's side of it about how it kind of turned out shitty and they felt like they got jerked in some ways. But I would have liked to have gotten those other guys' side of it as well. But
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then guys that you would expect I would want to get, like Clips and guys like that. But then also guys that you wouldn't even think have any connection to it at all. I tried Carson Daly. I tried Chris Webber. There was just any sort of random connections there that's like, all right, I'm going to take a shot at this just because I feel like it'd be interesting to add.
And if you once you get into it, I don't want to divulge too much, I guess, but if you read, you'll understand why Chris Webber plays into it and why Carson Daly plays into it. But they actually do. This thing kind of spreads into some weird places, so it was interesting. But it was like, once I hear one thing, it's like, oh man, I got to try to reach out to this dude. So
yeah.
Some of those cases were successful, and others not so much.
Well, it's funny. I talked about the movie. I talked about the book, too. But also, Drop the Mic, the TBS show hosted by Method Man and stuff, where, two celebrities go up there and freestyle. I didn't realize.
And that was one of the few things. That was one of the few things I actually added over, like, the final year of this process while I was kind of waiting on the whole publisher thing to play itself out. There was There was a couple things that I felt like I had to add. Bodied, like I said, was obviously going to be the end point, but I wasn't obviously going to touch on every single thing that happened between then and now, but like, I wasn't going to be like, oh, this blogger beef between such and such. Right. Little stuff like that, it was not going to be a thing, but I felt like, Drop the Mic. I had some stuff on Ruin Your Day and the Watch series because I thought that was kind of a cool development.
I thought so,
too, sort of little things like that. It was like, all right, I feel like this merits inclusion, so I'm going to kind of scoop up some things. So I talked to some guys that had coached on the show, Awkward, Hollow, guys like that, and then also talked to Jensen Karp, who's kind of the executive producer of it, just to kind of get the origin story of, you know, how it all came to be and sort of what they were looking to accomplish with it. But, I mean, obviously, I think some people kind of look at that as like, oh, it's kind of a sellout type of watered-down thing. But, and in some ways it is. But
yeah, I mean, look, the coaches are happy, right?
At the same time, it's a good look, and I think they at least made an effort to make it authentic when you're including guys, when you have guys coaching them like Chilla, Iron, Carter Deems, Hollow, Awkward, and then you've got guys like Roan that are helping to write the stuff, that I think they at least made an effort to include actual battle rap guys to make it more authentic. It wasn't like, oh, Nicole Richie's actually going to write her own bars. Like, no. She's going to have someone writing her material, and then she's going to have someone coaching her on how to spit it, and we're going to make sure this is as real as we can make it within the context of obviously watering it down to make it palatable for the white people that want to watch Nicole Richie's rap. You know, it's going to be a different audience. It's a different audience than like, oh, Arsenal versus Hollow. Oh, Nicole Richie versus whoever. It's a very different audience, and I think you have to obviously take that into account when you're preparing it. But, you know, they at least tried to keep it authentic, and I appreciated that. So, I mean, I checked for a lot of these shows, and a lot of times it's like I just want to see the credits and see, like, who's getting big up at the end. And it's like, oh, shoot, Thesaurus wrote for this episode, or, oh, Carter Dean's got a credit here. So that was kind of cool to see. It's like this big mainstream cable show, and these guys are actually included in it. It's like a way for these guys to get an extra check and get a little notoriety. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Nah, yeah, definitely is cool. Did you have any dedication to any battlers that passed away? Idea, Pumpkinhead, Tall T.
I mean, there's dudes that are mentioned throughout the course. I didn't do I guess you could say like a proper dedication page. And that was something I actually toyed with the idea of doing at one point. But I mean, I did have.
What took you away from doing that?
I don't know. I mean, it felt like it would have been, I guess for me, it felt like it would have been disingenuous for me to do that, not personally knowing any of these guys. Like, I mean, I never met Pumpkinhead yet, and actually, I still have it saved in my, like, Facebook messages. Like, I was trying to reach out to him to set something up, and sort of kind of how it is with rappers. It's like, oh, yeah, let's do this, and then one thing turns into another, and it never happens. But, you know, I was in the process of trying to work stuff out with him to get an interview, and then he passed away. But it was like, I don't know. I'm just the kind of guy that doesn't feel, I don't want to have like this big splashy dedication page to a bunch of dudes that I never met or really talked to that much. I just felt like it would have been, I don't feel like it would have been genuine, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Like,
that's fair enough.
This is dedicated to my boy PH, who I never ever spoke to. So I mean, PH is obviously mentioned within the context of the book. There's actually a sidebar in the Scribble chapter on Idea and just sort of the impact he had on people.
Okay.
I did talk to Bender for the book before he passed. So I just put like a quick little, because in the acknowledgments at the end, I just kind of list everybody that I talked to or that contributed, and I just put like a quick little RIP next to his name. But I mean, I wasn't going to sit there and be like, oh, my homie Bender, who I never, you know, I bumped into for 5 seconds at Blackout 5, and so that makes us boys.
I got you.
I don't know. I just felt like it would have been corny for me to do that, even though
I'm sure it would have been appreciated maybe by some people. It just didn't feel right to me to kind of do that for basically complete strangers, you know.
Well, I mean, you're the author, so if you felt a certain way about it, then it should just be that. I
don't want to come off like, oh, fuck these guys, you know. I'm not dedicating to them, but I hope, hopefully, you know what I mean. It's like,
of course, yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, people that are sitting there like, oh, talking all this Mac Miller shit on their Twitter feed now. It's like, if you were cool with him, that's fine. But if you didn't know him, then it's like you're almost just sort of, you're fishing for likes and things like that. And I'm not built that way.
Yeah.
I just felt like it would have felt corny and forced if I'm dedicating stuff to guys I never knew. But obviously there's a lot of people in this culture, rappers in general, but also battle rappers, that seem to die way too young, and it obviously sucks. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt kind of weird about it. I'm weird about death in general, though, so I'm kind of just a strange dude like that. So
yeah.
Hopefully nobody takes it personally, but I'm just I'm weird.
No. I think you explained yourself. I think you explained yourself perfectly. You know.
Yeah.
Did you talk about like some Menace too when we saw the Diddy's come out, the Drakes, in attendance for King of the Dot, kind of the mainstream big time rappers that kind of came in?
Yeah, I think that's actually where you might have been probably quoted, was with some of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned
awesome.
I didn't do like a whole big drawn out thing on like celebrity involvement or whatever, but you know, obviously where, you know, like with Puffy being on the Smack DVD and kind of showing up for, you know, him and Buster showing up for Summer Madness too, and Drake obviously helping out with the Blackout 5 card and whatnot. You know, I just tried to insert it like, okay, this is a thing that actual rappers fuck with, but I didn't want to focus as much on them because they aren't the dudes, you know what I mean? I'd rather focus the energy on the Hollows and the Arsenals, the Mooks, the Thesauruses, guys like that are actually doing it, versus I didn't want Drake or Puffy to kind of hijack the whole thing just because I want to like name drop for some extra love here.
It's it's about the battle culture, and I mean those guys obviously made their little contributions financially and gave it a little more exposure, but they weren't the ones that made this shit.
Right.
So it's mentioned, but it's not a featured thing, I guess you could say.
Gotcha. Did you? I lost my train of thought real quick. Now there's a question from my boy Mercy here. Is the book available? If not, when does it drop? And what platforms would it be on?
It's been out for a couple weeks. I think 2 weeks ago Tuesday it'll have been officially out, and I've actually shipped a grip of them already. But you can cop it directly at battlerapbook.com, and I'm actually kind of selling it for a cheaper rate there right now. But you can also get it on Amazon. If you search for bars on Amazon or Battle Rap Book or whatever searches you do on there, but it'll come up. And so you can get it there also. I think my hope was actually for people that are kind of overseas, especially because I've kind of done a surprising amount of business as far as like UK guys and Australian guys that they've actually been on this early. I was hoping they might be able to save a little bit on shipping with Amazon, just because I figure that's sort of what Amazon is good for, right, is being able to get this thing cheaper. But it hasn't necessarily worked out that way. I know some people have gotten on there just because it's easier for them. But, I mean, yeah, those are kind of the two avenues available right now. I'm going to see about eventually getting into some physical bookstores and whatnot. But at least for right now, those are the two avenues to get it at.
Yeah, my boy Flawless, shout out to Flawless, that's me, Flawless. He's from UK, and they got a huge battle rap fan base over there. You know,
oh, for sure. And I mean, I
followed
feel like
by Shoddy Horror mostly.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Shoddy's another guy I would have liked to have gotten, but I did get a fairly good amount of UK representation. You know, going back to like the jump off stuff, especially to those guys, and Archaic what's his face, Possessed, going back to like the first WRCs. You know, and obviously, you know, and Kruger and the whole Don't Flop crew. But there was definitely especially like I said, the 07 WRCs being such an important thing. I think there's definitely a big British influence in the way battle rap is now, whether people recognize it or not. So I definitely thought it was important to get some inclusion there. And I talked to dudes from Australia, I think, Justice and Anecdote and guys like that.
Justice is dope. Justice won Scribble twice or once?
Once. He won in 05. He beat Iron Solomon in the final, and he had that semifinal battle with Thesaurus, which I still think is probably the best freestyle battle that ever happened.
Yeah, they did a dope 2-on-2 too when Justice came back. It was Thesaurus and Madness versus Justice, and I forgot the other guy's name. That battle was dope too.
Yeah, and Justice was. He had an incredible run that one year. It would have been cool if he came back, but I think he, for a lot of guys, because it's not like it is now where guys are just content to be like, oh, I want to be a battle rapper because I can just be a battle rapper, and that's a thing. Back then, it was still I'm going to use battling to kind of build up my name, and I want to get that record deal because that was still the thing back then. It was like, oh, I want to get my name and get signed, and battling is kind of a means to get my name out there to do that. And sort of that was where Justice was at. That was, at that time, that was where dudes like Iron were at. That
Right.
I want to get signed. That was the end game for them at the time, and now it's more like, well, shit, I can get, the top guys anyway. It's like I can make a living year round off of battling. I don't even, some of these guys, a very select few, most of them still have to work regular jobs, but some of these guys, the DNAs, the Disasters, whoever, they can battle a few times a year and just get by on that. They can't get rich on that. God bless. They can't get rich on that, but they can get by on that. And so if you can do that's cool.
I've always thought if you do what you love and you could get by on it, that's almost better than kind of being rich in some ways,
Mm-hmm. And shoot, that's why I got into the business I got into. It's like, that's the thing that people say. It's like, I still remember, and this is the funny thing, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here that doesn't seem battle related, but it kind of does relate to this.
Go ahead.
I remember when I was about 25, 26 years old, and I was back home for Memorial Day weekend. This is in Massachusetts. And a few of my boys from college came down for Memorial Day weekend, and we're just kind of hanging out. And I'm listening to them, and they're all sitting there bitching about work. And I'm like, these guys are all off in, like, accounting, finance jobs, making, like, 3-4 times as much money as I am. And I said to them, I'm like, man, what are you guys bitching about? You guys all make way more money than I do. And one of them turns to me and goes, yeah, but you're the only one of us that doesn't want to wake up and kill themselves every morning.
Wow.
And I was like, all right. There's something to be said for that. And it's like, they would sit there and be like, we're 22, 23 years old or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I'm working 80 hours a week at this accounting firm. What are you doing? I said, I get paid to watch teenage girls sweat. And that was my joking line at the time, but it was for real in a sense. It's like, I'm going to watch people play games and getting paid to tell people about it. I'm not making nearly the kind of money that those guys are. I got friends now that are like upper management at like General Electric and shit, but I'm sure as shit enjoying my job more than I would enjoy doing that. You know what I mean? And I'm sure for guys like DNA and guys like that can get by on just battle rap, it's the same thing. It's like, why go to a job that you hate if you can get by doing what you love? And so I think it's dope that those guys can get by doing that. That even if you gotta battle twice a month, it's like, if that doesn't feel like work to you, then fucking do it.
Do you still keep up with the culture as much? Were you able to catch the RBE event, some Man of 7, or did you follow the strike at all? Yeah.
I saw stuff on Twitter or whatever, and it's like there's so much going on now that it's like it's not like it was in like 2007 when you can watch every battle that comes out, because there's like 500 leagues and 8 million blogs, and it's just so oversaturated. So I don't watch every battle. follow every single thing that goes on, but I try to keep, especially since I do talk to a lot of people that are dialed in. I think I stay dialed in through them in a sense that I can kind of keep up with sort of the major goings on. Obviously, I've seen the stuff on Twitter about like, oh, strike, and it's like, okay, you guys do whatever you need to do, but so I follow it, but it's harder to follow now than it was, say, 5-10 years ago, where you could follow everything.
Right.
Because there's just so much more going on. You got 1,000 people that want to be battle rappers. I have my son who just turned 6. I say, what do you want to be when you grow up? He's like, I want to be a doctor and a battle rapper.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I'm going to cure cancer during the week, and then on the weekends I'm going to go and fucking roast somebody.
Go and battle.
So, I mean, it's like literally everybody wants to do this shit. And, it's not like it was back in the day when it was like basically only the best of the best were going to get on. It's with YouTube. I guess the good and the bad of it is that anybody can get out there. I mean, I've got battles on YouTube, and I'm not good at this shit. I haven't battled in almost 12 years. But
right.
I mean, basically anybody with a camera and a dream can get out there and do this shit now, and it kind of gets watered down. Oh, dude, we're gonna have to swap links, man.
Yeah,
I'll have to see if yours are as bad as mine are.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like you said, I think everybody used to want to battle rap. As part of. I think the people that kind of fell into the media kind of section is just like, damn, I can't do all that now. I can comment on it,
And that's the thing, is like, I mean, anybody can do it, and I feel like, I mean, I was doing it back when it was like still quote-unquote freestyle, even though everyone obviously had premeditated shit, and I definitely did. But, I think in the written era now, like somebody in the book even said, like in the written era, it's a lot harder, it's a lot easier to be not terrible.
Right.
There's very few people that can come off the head and be good. But, I mean, if you got 2 months to write something, it's pretty easy to come up with some stuff that's not going to suck.
Yeah, you should at least be able to come up with, 5 bars that are going to be hit or be funny, I got what you're saying.
Sure. And, I mean, honestly, I feel like I could write at a level of most of these guys, if I'm being honest. But, I mean, performance-wise, I can't fucking...
It's a different story. Yeah.
I can't hold these guys nuts. I mean, I'm terrible. Like I'm not comfortable on the stage at all. The times that I did it, I was not comfortable at all, and it's like I almost felt like I had to have lines in pocket, even though I'm supposed to be quote unquote freestyling, because I'm like, man, I know I'm gonna shit my pants up here. I gotta have something to fall back on. So it's like I can't do performance-wise what a Diz does or Arsenal does or guys like that. But, I mean, if, text battling, I was nice as fuck. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I can write.
Yeah, you said you won.
I think, But, I mean, there's different elements to this stuff. You got to be able to write and perform. And, I mean, to me, the best guys are still the guys that can come off the head when needed.
Conceited started off as a text battler.
Yeah, no, I'd been told that. And, obviously, he's a much more comfortable performer than you or I is, I think. But
Right.
I think it is cool that there are guys that kind of, like I said, I mean, Cashmere, who I used to text battle with, he wound up battling Mac Lethal at Scribble Jam. I mean, I think there were guys that did both at that time. I remember posting rhymes on the Davey D freestyle boards, and C. Ray's Walls was on there.
Right.
There were guys that were actually doing the shit musically that still fucked with those message boards back in the day. And so it's kind of like, all right, you kind of feel, it's like I kind of wish I had known that at the time, because it's like, man, I can kind of hang with the guys that actually did this. And I think a lack of confidence definitely was maybe something that plagued me back then, that maybe I would have done some more with this, but I was scared as shit to go to Scribble and battle.
Yeah. You got to do some cocaine first, then you get up there.
Yeah, Len Bias nipped that shit in the bud for me, too. There was no way I was doing that, so.
Yeah.
No thanks. I'll just kind of just sit off to the side and watch.
But yeah, you know, it's funny too. Because did you get a chance to interview Serious Jones?
I did. He was actually one of the last dudes that I got. Like, I kind of. I remember I had to knock on that door quite a few times, but I did wind up getting him, and yeah, he was definitely an interesting dude, and like I got
he's a great
a lot
interview.
of insight. Yeah,
he's a great interview.
I mean,
he's a cool guy too. You know, I remember I kind of first heard that he wasn't that great of a person, but he's real cool in person. But it's funny too because I wish I would have gave you something, you know, that you could have even asked them, because a lot of people didn't know about this, because I guess, you know, I used to YouTube battle rap, you know, when YouTube first came out. Now,
battles, same thing here.
YouTube, right? So now, but the audios have gotten taken down, and I remember there was like a Power Summit battle where Sirius had battled Professor Green. Do you remember this? And it was kind of like one of the weirdest events because you heard the National P introduce it, you know, and then Professor Green went on to battle Jin. I forgot who won. I think Jin might have won, and that's how Jin won 100.
I think Jin did win, but it's funny that you mentioned this because I got a whole bunch of stuff from Sirius and Jin about how, you know, they had, at this point, they had battled. Like, Sirius had beaten Jin, but it hadn't come out yet.
Right.
And so they were down in the Bahamas, and Jin wanted this rematch bad.
Right, yeah.
And so then, you know, they're talking about, like, you know, Sirius got beat by Professor Green on some fuck shit.
But
and then,
that's the one I was going to tell you. That was one of the most weirdest audios because after the 3 rounds, the judges had gave it to Serious Jones. The crowd
but they made him go again.
They made him go again, exactly. Okay, so you know the story. Okay.
Yeah, and they tell this story, and this is one of the coolest parts in there. I thought where Sirius talks about he's like back at the hotel, and you know he's fine. His boys are calling him up at the hotel, like, "Yo, Jin is here calling you out. He wants this rematch," and da da da, and just the way that whole dynamic played out between those guys. Like, I thought that was kind of cool because especially since you don't really have that competitive aspect anymore. I think the fact that battles aren't judged anymore, you don't have that kind of hunger like Jin had, like, okay, he fucked me up, I need to get him back.
Yeah.
And it's like, now it's like, okay, we've already done this battle, it hasn't been judged, there's no point doing a rematch because, you know, why do you do a rematch of something that wasn't judged to begin with? Whereas if somebody lost a battle and felt some kind of way about it, like, I need to get this motherfucker back.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of had that hunger, and so I think back then there was kind of more of that competitive spirit and doing it for the love, whereas now a lot of guys is just doing it for the views and for the check. And the interesting one to me, I think, that really highlighted that within the book was Battle of the Bay 5 on Grind Time. Where you had, I mean, that card was fucking ridiculous. You had...
Was that the Thesaurus versus Ilmac?
That was Thesaurus and Ilmac. You had Hollow versus Pass. You had Arsenal versus Conceited. Marv 1 versus Averb. Disaster versus Organic. I mean, everybody that was worth a shit back then was on that card.
Wow.
And you talked to all these guys, and it was like, you can't do that again.
Yeah.
Because basically all these guys, it was like they were doing it. Most of those guys battled for free. I think the only guys that got paid, there was like 4 guys that got paid for that card. They said it cost $5,000 to do that event.
Wow.
And it would cost 6 figures now. It would cost $5,000 to get. It would cost $5,000 easy to get any one of those guys probably. And
well, I know Thesaurus and Ilmac got paid. I know that.
Yeah, they did because they didn't want to battle each other. So Lush kind of was like, you know, it was because I think at that point, you know, back then it was sort of still that whole winner gets paid thing. But they were both like, we don't want to battle unless we're both going to get paid. And I think they kind of almost bluffed. Like, they didn't think that they were going to get someone to agree to pay them both. And once they did, it was like, well, all right, I guess we better battle each other. But I don't think anyone else on that card, except for maybe Arsenal and Conceited, got paid. Like, they said, you know, they paid for, like, Hollow's flight or whatever, but he battled Pass for free.
Wow.
Can you imagine getting hollowed a battle
for free? I know, right? I know. You can't even get them
to there
to come to them.
And guys like that, it was like, to them, that was it, because you had this ridiculous card, but it was like, they're all there for the love. They're all there for the competitiveness of, I'm better than this dude, and I'm going to beat him. I'm not there for $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever the hell these guys get paid now. It was just, I want to show up, I want to battle this dude, and I want to beat him. And to me, that is the thing that's missing from battle rap now, because it's not judged. And no matter how bad you do, I mean, I hate to say it, because I mean, I know this has been rehashed by, and debated whatever way on whatever, but I mean, Mook was not good at all against Verb at all. I mean, to me,
we have that conversation all the time. Yeah.
To me, Verb beat him clearly. It wasn't even close. Like, the stuff that Mook was spitting was just cringe-worthy bad, and I'm just like, man. But there's still going to be people out there, no matter how bad a dude does, he's going to have a group of fans that are going to ride for him and be like, oh, Mook got that shit.
Well, I gotta be honest, you're the first one that I heard say cringeworthy bad. I mean, it was a little dated.
I will say this because I really thought like a lot of it was forced, and I'm not trying to disrespect anything like legacy-wise for Mook or whatever, but that particular performance, it's like if you're going to be gone for 4 years and then come back, like I think I commented to somebody like after I actually listened to the battle, like watched the battle. I said to somebody, I said, this sounds like forced wordplay. I was like, this is something that Chillett would have wrote 5 years ago when he was drunk, woke up, looked at it, and thrown it away.
Wow.
Like, that was what it was to me. And, I mean, everybody lays their eggs. That's fine. Everyone's entitled to a bad day. And even the greats, the greatest of all time, have had their days where it just wasn't their day. But I said the only difference between what happened that night and Cannabis against Diz was Cannabis at least admitted he lost.
Was what?
Cannabis at least admitted that he lost.
Wow.
I mean, 3 weeks later, Mook is still out here trying to explain, like, how, you guys just didn't get this bar. Like, here, let me explain the bar. You guys just didn't get it. And it's like, you're just making it worse. Just stop.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that too. So, but you would compare Cannabis to Murder Mook?
Like, to me, it was that bad. I know some people think it was like, it was and it's great. He rapped for 20-plus minutes without choking. That's good. That's cool. But you had 4 years to prepare for a battle. You haven't battled in 4 years. It's your job to not choke. You need to write some material that is not just, like, corny as fuck. What was it, me at the meat market? Like, are you fucking kidding me? It was like, that's shit that would have lost you a text battle 20 years ago. And people are like, oh, that shit's hot. That shit's deep. Did you get it, double entendre? I'm like, no, that's just, Like, as a writer...
Yeah, go ahead.
As a writer, it pains me, and I don't even know if that was the best Verb. I thought he was pretty good. I thought that, especially the first round, I thought he came out and definitely established the momentum and established the tone the first round. But I mean, beyond that first round, it's not like that was like a hey Big Gerald level Verb. I mean, he was good, and I mean, he definitely. You could just the demeanor on the stage. It was like you could tell, and I don't think Mook's defense was great. It's like you could tell he was getting flustered, and it's like, okay, I'm in the building. I know I'm like the crowd is not rocking with me here, and I think Verb just kind of had that swagger on him, like every time he's dropping the bars, and he's just kind of popping back, like woo.
Yeah.
Man, that energy. You haven't seen that energy from Verb. You don't see that energy from Verb every time. So it's like,
after
okay,
the first round, I felt like Verb. You're absolutely right. Where Verb was just like, woo, like he knew he had it. I
think he just knew, like, all right, I've got this motherfucker because one, I the crowd is rocking with me, and he's just not really saying anything that's like, that's kind of one of the things that strikes me about at least recent Mook. I mean, you can go back and say whatever as far as the DVD battles and whatnot, but I mean, if you look at just like the Iron battle, the second Lux
Iron
battle,
Lux,
and
the second,
and the Verb battle, I can't think of a single Mook line that's memorable, aside from maybe some stuff in this last battle that was like memorably bad. But there's not something that you're going to quote to your boys like, oh, you remember when Mook said this against Iron or whatever? Like, I can't remember a single line from any of those battles that's like going to stick with me.
Yeah, I think it was more so the angles too, like Mook, you know, using Lux's whole thing against him and playing the Buster Rhyme disc for Buster. You know, I think it was more on the performance level like that. I think Good said it best too, though, when he said Mook took a wrong approach by kind of going. I think he went out there to prove that he could do these double and triple entendres where he should have just went. But that's not Mook, you know. He should have just went out there.
Thing, then don't do it. It's like, you know, right. You know, another good example, and a guy that I think, honestly, like for me personally, I think is the best battle rapper of all time for me is Immaculate. And when he went against Roan,
I can see that.
And when he went against Roan, when he was defending the title on KOTD, I felt like he came out and he tried to out-comedy Roan, where he was trying to come at him with like these comedic angles, and I was like, you're trying to out-comedy a comedian. I was like, just out-rap him. Like, he cannot rap with you.
Yeah,
and it was like, that was one of the few times I've seen Ilmac kind of come out of his bag and like try to almost play on the other guy's turf, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, don't do that. It's like, just out-rap him. He can't out-rap you. Just out-rap him. And I think had Mook gone down that road, it might have been a more interesting battle, but it was like he tried, like I said, he tried doing Drunk Chilla. And it just didn't work at all. And I mean, there's going to be people that ride with you no matter what. I mean, there's people that no matter how bad you get bodied, if you're a fan of like Clips or DNA or whoever, everyone has their fans that even if they get bodied, it's going to be like, I don't know, man, I think you got him.
Yeah, which I don't like. I don't like that in the sense that, you know, you should be able to admit when your favorite is taking a loss. You know, because that's
for sure.
You know,
because I mean, everybody has their nights where it's like, and I mean, even if as a fan of certain people, I think we all have guys that we rock with more than others, just stylistically or whatever. But I mean, there's certain battles where you watch your favorite guy and it's like, man, he just don't got it this time.
Yeah.
And I think even no matter how big of a Mook fan you are, I think the Verb battle has to be one of those. And I mean, if it's not, then I got to question the filter that's in your brain as far as what's acceptable bars and what's not. But it's just, to me, that was just like, it was really bad to me.
I'm not going to say it was bad. I liked the battle. I liked Mook's performance. I did think that Verb won. But something else that Mook did also was when somebody relies on something they said in the past and change it up, it's kind of like you're trying to go back to that moment. You know, you got to let that moment. Like when he said, "Oh, I'm not Jordan, I'm AI." I was like, "No, don't do this. Don't do this." That was a great when you did the Jordan scheme. That was great. You know, don't change it up now. Don't say, "Oh, I'm AI." And even though he did his own twist on it, it's kind of like you're trying to revisit the dopest stuff you did. You got to just let that go in the past. You know, you don't see Verb like, "Oh, I got a second guardian angel."
You are going to find a way to do it, don't do it that way. Like, I mean, why would you downgrade? I love Allen Iverson. I had, like, he came up at Georgetown when I was in college, like, toward the end of my college year. I saw him play live my senior year of college. Like, I loved Allen Iverson,
mm-hmm.
to the point where my internet password for everything for like the first 5 years I was on the internet was Iverson. But, I mean, if you're going from Jordan to Iverson, like, you're downgrading hard.
That's true, too. That's true.
I loved Allen Iverson, but, I mean, he is not – I mean, that's like going from – I don't know. That's like going from freaking – Nas to Chubb Rock or something. Like, you can't.
I got you. He should have done more of like well, I'm LeBron now. Some shit along those lines. I got you.
There you go.
I agree with you. I was kind of thinking that too.
If you're gonna update it, upgrade it.
Yep.
If you're gonna update it, upgrade it.
I agree 100% with you, man. On that factor. All right, man. Yo, I could talk to you for hours, man. I know you know your shit. Oh, by the way, man, since you're a sports writer, help me out with my bookie tomorrow. Do I take the Jets at +7?
You're asking the wrong dude, man. I'm so footballed out at this point. Like, I really don't. I don't pay much attention to the NFL.
Oh, baseball, right?
I like baseball just because. I mean, I'm watching the Sox now as they try to win this game here, but yeah, basketball, I would say, is my main thing. That, I'm definitely more of a basketball dude. I got footballed out when I was, I covered, like I said, I covered college football like 5 years, 24/7, 365, and it just got.
Gotcha. It became too much.
Old. Yeah, and I mean, with all the concussion shit, like I'm kind of over football. I mean, I still got to cover it because it's, give the people what they want or whatever. But I'd be lying if I said I would love to be able to steer you down a certain path as far as the Jets or whatever, but I'd be giving you completely uneducated information, and I don't want to do that.
So 2019 NBA champions, Golden State?
Oh, it's got to be. And, I mean, I say that as a Celtics fan. I think the Celtics can make the finals. They should make the finals, but I just don't. I mean, how does anybody beat that team?
Yeah.
You're taking a team that already won the title convincingly, and you're going to add Boogie to that team. I mean, if he's even remotely healthy, I just don't see how anybody fucks with them at all.
That's why I think LeBron should have went to the. That's why I think LeBron should have went to Houston. That would have been a little shake up there.
I mean, it would have been a shake-up. I just don't know how it would have played out because, I mean, you get in a situation there with Houston where there's only one basketball. And, I mean, if you're going to put – I think adding Carmelo to that mix especially when you have guys like, two ball-dominant guys like Harden and Paul, and then you add Carmelo to that who needs the ball. That's three guys that need the basketball. And those situations traditionally have not worked out well. I think if you can get into a situation like the Celtics in 08 with Allen and Pierce and Garnett where you can get those guys to say, all right, I'm going to keep my ego in check a little bit because I want that ring. And we'll see if that happens with those guys. But, I mean, just body of work with them, I just don't see it happening. Like, especially adding Carmelo, I'm just like, man, I just don't see this ending well. I think with Golden State, I think it just has to be, all right, until someone proves that they can beat them.
You just have to assume that they're going to be the team. I think it'll be them and the Celtics. And as much as I'd love to see the Celtics beat them, I just don't know if they can yet.
Yeah,
we'll
man.
See. But it's going to be fun. I mean, the NBA has gotten so fun the last couple of years. I think it's kind of getting like it was in the mid-'80s where you've got, the talent's not.
It's okay. I kind of feel like it's unfair that Golden State has such an advantage, but
I know, but you know what it is? It's like people want to see greatness, and I think the fact that so much of the talent is concentrated on those top 4 or 5 teams. That I mean, during the regular season it sucks when you've got the Sacramentos and shit that are just awful to watch, but when you get to the playoffs and you've got the Celtics are loaded. They've got 4 All-Stars. Or, the Warriors are loaded. They've got 800 All-Stars. When all the power is concentrated, like I look at it like it was in the mid-'80s when it was like, okay, the Lakers are there every year. The Celtics are there every year. The Sixers are there every year. Like these teams are just stacked with like 3-4 Hall of Famers. And it kind of sucks when you get those games where it's like, okay, Clippers Kings, like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that game.
Yeah.
But when you get down to it, and it's like Warriors Rockets, the Warriors Celtics, those games are gonna be fucking awesome to watch.
Yeah. That's when the fun hits. Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta. It's kind of like. It's actually kind of like Swan described the freestyle scene. It's like you kind of got this like if you got a tournament back in the day of like 32 battlers back in Detroit, only 3 or 4 of them are going to be good. It's going to be like Swan, Quest, Marv, whoever, and the rest of these guys are going to suck. And it's like those first rounds where it's like Buster against Buster, those guys are going to suck. Those rounds are going to suck to watch. But then when you get those head-to-heads between the Titans, like, oh, shit. Like, those are those moments. And I think the fact that you've got these loaded teams now, like the Warriors and the Celtics and, the Sixers are trying to become that you set yourself up to have these moments, like these Clash of the Titan things that people are going to remember. And I think that's more fun to me than, like, back in the mid-2000s when you had the, as good as the Spurs were, they were not particularly exciting to watch, and then you got them against, like, the Pistons in the finals, and it's like, nobody wants to watch that. But if you got, like, Kyrie and Curry and Draymond and Hayward and Horford and, like, a Celtics-Warriors series with, like, 8 legit all-stars on the floor at any given time, like, that's going to be fun as shit to watch. So, yeah, and I mean, I can't wait to see that.
No, I hear you. Swan was on MTV's Made, right? If I'm not mistaken.
He did one of the MTV battles. I can't remember off the top, which I think it was him and Recognize.
Oh, okay.
Got to the finals in one of those tournaments that they did.
But I thought I remember him on Made also as a coach on Made. I don't know.
He might have been on Made. He was on MTV. Quest McCody was on MTV at some point, one of those reality shows like I'm a Battle Rapper or whatever they do.
Oh, okay,
but, I mean, Swan was all over the place. I mean, Swan did Scribble. He actually there was a thing that got talked about in there. Like him and Mook went at it for like 7 rounds one night.
Really? Wow.
There was a thing where like Fight Club went out to Detroit and like all these Fight Club guys, that back then, those guys obviously were on the written shit before a lot of the rest of the country was. So it was like these guys were coming out with written and going out and serving these Detroit dudes that were still trying to freestyle. And so they said, all right, we're going to throw Swan against you because he was on or whatever. And so
I wonder if that's what Mook was talking about in the Jones battle when he said, I already 8 Mile over at 8 Mile. Maybe that could be, maybe.
Yeah, no, he went out to Detroit and he wound up battling Swan, and it was like basically Mook's writtens against Swan's freestyles. And they couldn't decide a winner for the longest time, and it was like they wound up going 7 rounds or some shit like that. And, again, this is one of those moments that does not exist on camera, at least as far as anybody I talk to knows. But, I mean, if that footage is out there, I'd love to see it. That was one of those things where that was like, how I was saying there was stuff I didn't know that I didn't know. Like, I had no idea that fucking battle happened.
Yeah, but you know what? I kind of like those stories where there's no camera footage, like where Lux and Rex beat them. It adds that extra mystique to it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad there's no video footage. Yeah.
And there's other one like Supernatural and Proof.
Wow.
I didn't know that battle happened, and the only footage that I know is like Supernat says he has a VHS of that battle, him battling Proof.
Wow.
But it's not on YouTube or anything like that. I gotta get it out of him somehow. I gotta get like Minnesota Luke needs to buy that footage from him or something. But that needs to be seen by the world. But yeah, Supernat and Proof battled in Las Vegas at a Maurice Malone fashion show. Wow. And I actually talked to Maurice Malone for this book. That was like I said, I went down to some weird places, but
right.
It was that was one of those kind of cool little stories that I was like, man, I didn't know this should happen.
Well, if you said you interviewed Jin, man, if you could, man, I would love to get him on as a guest if you still have that contact. If you want to reach out to him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I talked to Jin. I mean, this was, like I said, this was probably back around the time I talked to you. So, I mean, we're talking like 3 or so years ago. I mean, I'm sure there's people I could reach out that, like, I've got an email address somewhere. I tried to keep all the contact low, but, you know, I can try to reach out to them. Like I said, it's been a while, but, you know, we'll see. But it'd be dope as shit if you can get him on. I mean, you definitely have some good stories to tell, so.
Yeah, I would love to interview Jim, man. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, like, you've obviously spoken to a shitload of these guys over the years.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone's got their stories to tell. I mean, there's guys I would have loved to have gotten, like a T-Rex I didn't get.
Yeah.
You know, Verb I would have loved to have gotten as well. But, you know, it's like I tried to get as wide a distribution as I could, and, you know, you just get, you play the hand you're dealt, I guess you could say. But, I mean, I felt comfortable enough with what I have that it was like, all right, we can roll with this now. And, you know, hey, hopefully if this thing hits, maybe I can get some of these guys in on the second edition or something.
Yeah, that would be dope, man. Rest in peace, Mac Miller. I would love to have you on after I get a chance to read the book, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
I need
to send one out your way.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man, we'll keep in contact. I'll follow you on Twitter right after this and let you know it's me, man. And
yeah, man. Have everybody take a look at Battle Rap Book, and like I said, BattleRapBook.com. They can go order it and check out whatever info they need to get beforehand. But I mean, the thing's pretty legit, man. It's not just some shitbag that doesn't know anything. That's like I said, this is being told by the guys who lived it. It's not me telling it. It's the snacks. It's the disasters. It's the guys that have been knee deep in this shit their whole lives, and I'm just kind of framing it and putting it on paper for them. But it's their story. So I just wanted to kind of help them tell it.
That's what's up, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Like I said, we'll definitely keep in contact. You definitely know your shit, man. We could talk hours, man, with battle rap stuff.
That's the beauty of this, dude. Like, some of these guys, it's like, you know, I wind up, I'm just going to talk to them real quick, and then you wind up just nerding out on random battle tips for like 2 hours. I mean, anytime you get around other people that are passionate about it, I think you can kind of go on forever and ever. So
yeah, that's true.
Man,
that's true. That's what's great about the community. Yeah.
No doubt. So, yeah, anytime you all want to have me back, man, I would welcome the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Salute. And we're out of here.
All right, man. Thanks.